Well, welcome back everybody to another vlog number 38 from the Turtle and the Tiger. Last time we talked a little bit about Muellar State Park in Divide, Colorado, and we're going to talk about this time about how we left Muellar and headed to our house at Ultimately in Weston, Colorado. I'm going to have to break it up into two parts, only because I've done all the other videos in front of it and it would be out of sequence. So it's going to be 38 part 1 and 38 part 2. Anyway, so we left Muellar State Park, and our ultimate goal was again to get to Weston, Colorado. We drove towards Pueblo, Colorado through a town called Penrose. And Penrose, Colorado is sort of important to me. It's probably not important to anybody else, but anybody that had anything to do with model rocketry when they were a kid or currently, Penrose, Colorado is sort of the mecca for model rocketry in the United States, if not globally. It is home to Estes. Estes was one of the founders of model rocketry back in the 50s and 60s. It had a great impact on me when I was a kid, still does to a certain extent. I even went so far as to having my own model rocketry company in the 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. And I no longer have it now, but if you Google Thrustline Aerospace, you can see some of my designs and some of the things we did when it was up and running. Okay, so we left Penrose, Colorado. It was a quick stop there to say hi to the folks and take a look inside the building. It's under refurbishment. Didn't spend too long there. The problem I had going there was coming from Muellar State Park down in altitude quite a bit to Penrose. I was sick and I could not unclog my ears, so I practically was deaf the entire time I was there. The one time, right? We went to Pueblo. Between Penrose and Pueblo, the temperature was about 105. We got into Pueblo, Pueblo. It was about 109. We stopped for a quick burger at a place called Bingo Burger. Had the best burger ever. Then we left there and headed south to Trinidad Lake State Park. Now, the whole reason to going back to Trinidad Lake State Park, and we've done a video on this before, is it's sort of one of the nicer parks in the southeastern section or southeastern corridor of Colorado, and it worked out perfectly for us before going to Rye, Colorado for a house sit, and it was going to work out again for another house sit in Weston, which was 15 miles away from Trinidad. So we ended up at Trinidad Lake State Park, went through the whole malarkey that we go through with some of the Colorado state parks with the reservation system and what's available, and you can't just walk in and blah blah blah. Not going through that all again, but we're trying to figure out a way to get a letter to somebody up in the higher ups in Colorado. Nobody else seems to complain about it. There's a certain amount of dogma when you see these people from Colorado. Coloradans are the ones that use it the most, so I don't know what the deal is, but to me and my wife, it just doesn't make good sense for the customer, the end customer, the way they have their management set up. Fortunately, not everybody practices their management the same in the state park system. Muellar State Park, very nice, very helpful, willing to go out on a limb for you, very flexible. People like 11 Mile State Park, 11 Mile Lake State Park, or Trinidad Lake State Park, or some of the other state parks. Yeah, you don't like it, leave, that kind of attitude. It is what it is, not our problem, etc. So we were just using it there for a couple nights stay so that we could set up for the house sit in Weston. We did go into Trinidad a little bit. I'm not going to go too far into it, but needless to say, there isn't a whole lot there unless you're into cannabis. In the town of Trinidad, there's probably not quite 10,000 people in the town of Trinidad. There are, however, 23 dispensaries for cannabis in the town of Trinidad. And pretty much the reason for that is, and I forget the route number, but it's a major interstate that goes from New Mexico north, from, for instance, New Mexico, Raton, New Mexico. Then it goes into Trinidad, and then I think the next big town is Pueblo and Colorado Springs and Denver. So there's that whole corridor there. So people from Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, they come right in, and they, you know, stop. Their first stop just inside of Colorado is, you know, the first dispensary I think off the interstate is Canico, and then there's one on the other side, and the parking lot is normally packed with cars with Oklahoma plates, Texas plates, New Mexico plates. Very rarely do you see anybody from Colorado there, but the city of Trinidad itself is sort of an, if you've never ever been to Northampton, Massachusetts, it's sort of the structure of Northampton, like a main street, and they got an opera house and a, you know, all the normal shops that you have, restaurants, etc. But the original money maker for the town used to be coal and then brick brick manufacture. But both of those have since gone in the toilet, so there's no real industry for the town or the city of Trinidad, except now cannabis. And cannabis for the entire state of Colorado, for Trinidad, accounts for 5.9% of the total sales, or $44 million annually. These are 2017 or 2016 stats. 44 million annually for overall sales. Now, the town gets, or the city of Trinidad gets, $4.4 million of that. So, 10,000 people supposedly in the city of Trinidad, and the influx of revenue is $4.4 million. They got a nice high school, they got a real green baseball diamond. You know, you can see in some spots of the town. But it's interesting that it's still, there's just something about the town that seems like it's still struggling. But, you know, it's just so weird. You see a couple of dispensaries when you get off the interstate, but then there's this one street in the center of Trinidad, and I don't know what the name of the street is. It was just one of the end streets that goes off of Main Street, where there's the rest of the dispensaries are just one right after another, side by side, all the way down the street. So it's just kind of strange. I'm not trying to say whether or not I'm for or against recreational marijuana. I'm certainly for medicinal, but I don't know about the recreational part. They seem like they have, you know, a little bit more problems as it relates to homelessness, panhandling, and whatnot. So we stayed at Trinidad Lake State Park for a couple of days. We did some work on the rig. I did some, found a drain hose that I had an issue with in the trailer, so I disconnected that and rerouted it, and hopefully I'll be able to take care of that on the trailer. You can read part of that, what happens later on in the blog. But for the most part, we just kind of sat and waited for the house sit to start. So we'll go over that on vlog number 38, part 2, coming up next on the Turtle and the Tiger. So until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out our blog at theturtleandthetiger.com. And also, be safe. Take care now. Bye-bye.